the issue of the pension scheme, there seems to have been a lot of discontent around the pension scheme. What exactly has been happening, and would you want to address that?
The biggest problem that we're experiencing with our pension scheme, by the way we have two, is that they are underfunded in economic terms. The underfunding is as a result of non-remittance of dues by the employers to the scheme or to the funds. It is not a new problem, but now the accumulation of unremitted dues has reached unprecedented levels, such that for pension, for Provident Fund, our employees are going home empty-handed after after being deducted for all the years that somebody has been in service.
Why would an employer want to withhold the remittances? And I wouldn't want to imagine that they do pay the salary. Why would they want to kind of defer the remittance? Do they? What kind of reasons they adduce? Good and bad reasons.
The first problem is financial indiscipline by the employers. The other problem is the government body, Retirement Benefits Authority, to be unable to enforce the existing law that has got punitive penalties for employers who do not remit. And probably the third one, I want to blame the trade union that is also not able to mobilize its members and to ask for what is due for their members, because basically the trade union is supposed to be a continuous improvement of members' welfare. And when such things happen and the trade union goes quiet, it means then that they are not fighting for what they are supposed to be fighting for. And for an employee to go home at 60 years old, to be told go home and wait for your pension to come, is also uncalled for, wrong, and something that I'm not going to accept.
Thank you. Would you be able to give a quantum, an idea, a figure of exactly how much is owed as of now?
At the moment, the two schemes are owed about 34 billion for the defined benefit scheme, and for the Provident scheme, I do not have the correct figures, but it could be approaching a figure of 10 billion.
Those are huge figures. Those are huge backlogs.
Yeah, it's a big figure, because now you brought in the principal amount, the penalties that are supposed to be remitted, and even the actual benefit. Because when you don't remit that amount of money to the scheme, then you're denying that scheme an opportunity to invest. So when you calculate the opportunity loss, which is calculated by the actual people called actuaries, the amount is quite huge. In fact, and that is the reason why we now say that the scheme are underfunded, and it should be a concern not only to employees, the employers, but even the government. The national government should.
So you do contend that you stand the right, you are the right guy to fix this problem, and that's why you are aspiring to contest for this particular seat. And now, let's assume you have been given the chance. What exactly would you do to deal with this, especially the issue of the pension scheme?
Number one, let me say that I am the best person suited to sort out those problems. One, because of my experience. Two, because of my background in finance and economics. And three, because having been in that office before, I know which particular officers to address for which particular problems. I am also aware of various methods that can be applicable to bring our employers to financial discipline. One is through negotiation, through arbitration. Four is through industrial action, and industrial action comes in many ways. And the last one, which we can only apply now after all these have failed to work, is a court action, the legal path. But we believe before we reach the legal path, which is supposed to be brought about now by the cabinet secretary in charge of labor matters, that's a very far distant method.
And in your estimation, of course, there are some incumbents who are sitting in that office that you want to occupy now. How have they failed? Why do you think they have failed to resolve it, in spite and despite them being in office and being constantly aware that this is an issue that is not serving the best interest of the employee? What are they doing wrong?
Straight away, the employees do not trust them. The employees do not believe that they went to that office to do the welfare of employees rather than satisfy their personal egos in what currently the employees are calling tubocrats.
You want to suggest they're doing literally nothing about it, and even they're not even talking about it also? Give us a picture of how seriously they have failed to do what is expected of them to address the interest, the best welfare of the...
They have not called a strike to push the employers. They have not taken the employers to court. They have not brought on board the cabinet secretary in charge of labor. So what have they been doing for 5 years?
Well, that's for them to answer. Now, there is a lot of misinformation and under communication around the whole issue of the pension scheme again. I think there could be a little bit of deliberate propaganda. Why do you think, why is it really so? Is it clear cut? Is it very clear about the real problem, the imagined problems around the pension? Or are there some propagandas which are being circulated with an intention to, again, injure the welfare of the employee?
There has been a lot of propaganda, and mainly this has been focused on the pension scheme, that immediately they commissioned the issue of investing in one of the most ultra-modern buildings in Kilimani. The proponents of our masters of propaganda went out to say that the pension money is being used to construct a building for Council of Governors. That is not the correct position. The correct position is that the Council of Governors are stakeholders in the whole umbrella called county governments. And since they do not own offices, the scheme, will have a consortium that will bring up a building that will also house the offices of the Council of Governors. When they are meeting in Nairobi, they'll have a space. And in the process, the pension scheme will be able to sell space or will be able to collect rent and sell space where need be, because the building will be a mixed kind of development.
Yes.
And it will be making a profit of 2 billion within a period of 2 years.
So the propaganda part, how does it go? Does it suggest that just because there is a construction ongoing, then maybe there should be kind of withhold, reduced?
The propaganda is that pension money is being used by Council of Governors. That is not the position.
Okay.
The title deed belongs to the pension scheme. The developer is in form of a contract, a consortium kind of a contract, whereby the parties to the contract agree what you bring in on board and what the other party brings on board. Because the scheme,
could you put it to be a joint investment between the pension scheme?
I will not call it a joint venture. I will call it a turnkey investment. That is the word that is used in the contract.
Okay.
Because the workers own the plot of land, but the building will not be brought up by workers' money.
The financing for the building process is not coming from any part of the pensions.
The financing is not coming from the pension money. Maybe some little money in terms of when the contract is being done, the consultancy and that kind of stuff. But then after that, the development will be there. Strictly within a period of 3 years, of which after that, we shall now be selling space, or what you would call rental income.
Yes.
For various stakeholders that will be interested. Not only the Council of Governors, even individual interest, individual persons in their own capacities will be invited to come and have a space in the building, as long as the money that, in form of real assets of the pensioners is recouped immediately on completion of the project.
So that propaganda has served to mislead the employee to suggest that there is justification for loss of benefits or something?
According to the propaganda being peddled around, is that whatever we have been contributing from our payslip for all those many years that we've been contributing,
Yes.
will be eaten by that building, and the building will belong to the Council of Governors.
Okay.
I want to reiterate, the building will not belong to the Council of Governors, but the Council of Governors will have a space to utilize in that building when they are having their businesses in Nairobi. Number two, there is what we call return on investment. The investment by employees based on the costs of the property inside there will come back in form of rent collected and any other form of income that will accrue once the building is completed as such. And
Good.
therefore there is no loss. And before this agreement was arrived at, there was due diligence done, and calculations were done in terms of what the cost of floor space in Kilimani area is, what will be the total floor area within the building, and once you put in the money, what comes out of it, form of investment returns.
Okay. Well, that has been a very enlightening conversation on matters to do with employee representation at the county government. Before I let you go, I will give you a chance to make a direct appeal to your electorate and have a candid conversation with him and let him appreciate exactly why you are the best person suited for that position that you are gunning for.
Thank you very much. You fellow worker who is watching me now, this is my opportunity to make an appeal to you to elect me as your branch secretary for the coming season, because I stand on some pillars to ensure that one, there is no discrimination at the place of work. Two, to ensure that the pillar of job evaluation exercise is carried out, to ensure that your employment is safe under a collective bargaining agreement, and finally to ensure that you get a value for work done, equal pay for work of equal value. And I'm available anytime you call me upon to solve any problem that may find you at your place of work. Thank you for continued support. I promise to stand by the pillars within the milestones, the first 1 year, the second 3 years, and the final 5 years of my office, when you shall give me your scorecard.
Thank you very much, my brother. We will come back with the second pillar. Today we have addressed one pillar. I had the privilege of hosting Mr. Festus. He has addressed one pillar on the issue of the pension. There will be, we have a chance to come back to the bench here and we address this other pillar. I think you will be having a good number of them. And you will be convinced that he is the right man for the job. Until next time, I'm yours truly, Mwalimu Digital Kamau Mbugua. Thank you for watching.
Bye-bye.